Good day, all. Good afternoon. It's March the 30th. We're about to head into April. April 1st is around the corner. Ha ha ha. Okay. So today, I just, sometimes I don't know if I get worried, but I do think, what am I going to do? What if I don't have any content for my Sunday video? So, as far as things go, I did my best to keep to a commitment of doing a video a day. So, as far as goals go, as far as doing things that you should be starting if you haven't already, I thought about a YouTube channel for a very, very, very long time, and I'm glad I'm finally doing it now. And I have more peace when I do a video, even though I'm not 100% sure how it'll end up. Of course, I do my one-shot takes prior to posting them. So sometimes there's a few more takes than I'm expecting or what have you, but lining it up to why I'm here today with you guys. So anybody came to my mind just before starting to record this video, but anybody recall, maybe not now in your life, but anybody remember the Sunday blues? Did anybody get them? When I was younger, kid style younger, I remember them deeply, especially, when you have sometimes stuff going on at the home life. And then, you'd have the weekend and, growing up, I'm not sure if it was cartoons or just doing some other stuff that seemed to be a little bit more fun than could it be school or work even. I mean, the blues started to leave a little bit more towards when I was working what we would call full time. But I remember them always just being there because, sometimes there's that period or season in your life when you're not liking what you're doing. You got to show up because it's your living. You're making a living, so respect to that. But somehow there's a struggle in your heart. You don't feel like you're in the right place or something's going wrong in the environment and it's troubling you. So, you get this relief somehow. It's not really a real relief, but somehow you get it on a Friday night. And then, I mean, this is not very uncommon. Like what I'm sharing with you now, this is something a lot of people know the feeling of. But then you get the weekend and you're very happy. You can do things you like. Could be watching a movie, hanging out with friends, family, eating some yummy, delicious foods, working out, whatever it is you love to do. It could be also reading, crafts. You know what I'm saying? Spending more time, valuable time with your loved ones, as I said, and pets. Let's not forget pets. But where I'm going with that is then come that like that Sunday night, like even Saturday night, if you got to go back into work on Monday, you're like, oh no, there's only that one more day left. And that feels a little bit like could be on the heavy side, but not doesn't really show itself up until as you start to get into the later afternoon of a Sunday, which is a Sunday today where I'm posting this video. So, what I wanted to bring to your attention is there is something you could always do. Now, I'm not saying this is directly related to my whole conversation about the Sunday blues, but let's just maybe capitalize on the blues if you're feeling down. I'm accustomed to praying every single day, and a few times a day. There's a psalm, there's a passage in a psalm that even quoted the number seven to get in touch with God, And if you're a believer, you can get your head around when I use the term word God, right? Because if you're a believer, you get it because you believe, right? So for me personally, I'm surprised, but a grateful surprise that Jesus really, really helped in the belief department. I was a doubter about God. I'm like, come on, like, how can we go through so much hardship and there's a God? But you know what? If anybody unlocked the door for me, ask, seek, knock. I got to tell you, I'm giving all the credit to Jesus, honestly. I mean, I've always loved God, but then, you go through things and you get upset. And I don't want to take too much of your time, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of an insight about how I got into becoming a believer where I don't think you can have respect to the religion you were brought into this world in, and have respect for others no matter what their religion is. With that said, even if you come across passages that might consist of conflicts with others, that's not you. That's not you might have read something like that in your sacred books, the history of mankind, but that never has to be you. You can be the light of peace all the time. I know, and I never want you to be pressed where you have to be anything but that. But how can we think for 1 second that we can't be the beginning of peace? Okay, so it starts with us. Again, I don't want to get lofty in these expressions. I want you to get direct results. So I just wanted to say to you that, when we have close people in our life, we text them. Okay, and they text back. And, I'm not saying that people don't have their shortcomings. They really don't, and I'll tell you why. Can you imagine how many beautiful people you have in your life and what it would be like not to be with them for every single moment you possibly can? That's a beautiful thing, and I encourage all of you to really, as soon as you can, recognize those valuable people in your life. And again, all life is beautiful and precious. I had a hamster. You're going to tell me that during a couple of years when we were going through like the experience of a lockdown, that little hamster didn't come through. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful thing. But life is life. And I just wanted to say also, if any of you think about I don't want to get too much heady on this one, but don't worry about what you do with your consumption. If you know what you're doing with regards to what you're maybe drinking or eating, and it's not doing you good or any justice, again, start to diminish the amount of times you engage in those activities. I know it's impossible to some to even hear it to stop right away, even to myself, but start to diminish it somehow, some way. Look for those ways. I mean, I don't know what'll work for you. Some people think setting a goal, if that works for you, great, but just I'm saying great, like for real, but just have a good direction of where you want to go with this. What's the outcome you're looking for? Okay, so just you can start to break some habits that you've been thinking about you want to break, and I want you to feel confident that you can even start today. If there's something that you do frequently throughout the day that you shouldn't be, how about setting the timer for an hour or two and take a break from that? And if you have to get back to it right away, you may or you may not, but those 2 hours will be free from it, especially if it's something that's bringing a sense of spiritual bondage into your life. When you're like, it's not doing you any good. It could be a habit. And of course, I'm talking about the bad habits, okay? For the most part, yes, all of the bad habits. We know what they are. Nobody needs to tell us. Now, back to the prayer part, the Sunday blues, and all the things we can start taking action on now. I thank you this far for coming into this video with me. And I wanted to say to you that there's just no way on earth that we could comprehend how God would respond to us, because he moves mountains, he moves skies. God looks after the sun and the moon. And we're kind of put that right square in the face when we open up the Bible, and especially when we get into the passage of Genesis, without getting so right into it. Where do you stand on it? No, I want us to just understand that there's no way that God's going to text us back. Now, maybe through a person, and you can get into all those intricate destiny situations where it was God. I've been there. I know that feeling, but I want you to know something. I'm going to focus now on prayer. Prayer is the same thing as texting a loved one. And with the one thing that I can tell you about loved ones, they're the best, right? Come on. Who doesn't love people who care about you? And you care about them, not to say, I know it sounded one way for a second, but honestly, you care about them, I can think of so many people that I just would be horrible if they weren't in my life today. And I pray every day that, even if I'm just saying this to you now, that all the best for them, but all the best for everybody. I'm not into people being hurt. I know what it's like, and I want all of us who are hurting to get out of it as best we can. And again, I'm not losing sight here, but I want to just talk about prayer one more time. If you want to get into some place of action, again, this is really more for believers, because if you're not a believer, just God won't make sense to you. But for all of those who've been put in that place where we have to reckon with, yeah, God, you're real, and I'm grateful for that, like I am. I just know that without prayer, doesn't mean that God's not looking into my life, but it's a beautiful thing that I can actually communicate to God. So you know how you have your loved ones that you might text or pick up the phone call and look forward to hearing from them, and you get a response of when they pick up and you're joyful that you're connecting with them. Prayer is connecting with God. And I assure you that just because you're not on a phone or getting a text or something back on some social media, I mean, yeah, we know God works in mysterious ways. We know all these amazing sayings about the matter, but I want you to know when you pray, it's the same thing as reaching out to a loved one. But how we get the answers, where we should not put we should not start defining expectations and how we're going to get our answers from God. Yeah, it could be that surprise text from somebody you haven't heard from. But again, I'm not going to get into the semantics or the legalistics of it, but it starts with God, it ends with God. And I'm grateful that I even have the experience of this lifetime to know where I could even talk about God. And okay, I'm a believer, and I'm a believer for a reason, because there's been many times I thought my life was going to be overcome, and I was really, really feeling disappointed about things, like overwhelmed to the point where there was no water to drown me, but it felt like I was drowning in life, and I was saved. So I'll be honest with you, prayer works. Prayer is, and for all of you who are not sure about God, God is there. And I think even when I was not so sure of God, I was even complaining, like, what are you all about? He still cared, and he still listened. So it's not like I'm saying God's not listening if you don't pray, but it's a beautiful thing, because you know how you reach out to your loved one? Could be your child, could be your parents, somebody you're looking forward to speaking to. Get into that relationship with God. It just takes it to a whole other level where I'm not saying there's going to be promises or guarantees that I could speak to you about personally to your life, but you'll know the difference, because no matter what, when you start going to God, especially when you have the blues or you're not feeling peace, it's going to come around. It may not be as fast as you want it, but I'm telling you, sometimes before you get on your hands and knees in prayer, it's already like an air of peace starts to envelope you, because of the intention. So think about it that way. Intend to speak to God. He's your Father. He's your Creator. I know you can't comprehend, nor I, how He can get into our lives, but He is our lives. And if you don't believe it, I don't know what that's like for you, but I believe in God, and then I lost my belief, and then it came back, and Jesus kind of was the one that sealed the deal. God is alive. God is forever. God is in your life with you now. So remember, don't look out for things. Don't try to think you're going to have some special crystals or some kind of wooden statuesque or something like that. No, 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 no. You can just pray. Or again, I would only slightly advise, if you're not used to it, but I would advise meditating. I believe in all my heart that Jesus must have spent some quiet moments knowing the Father while He was here with us. Not to say He's not present, because how is it in this day and age that Jesus shared with me the joys of knowing that God is for real? I love you all. I know I took a lot of your time. I'm not sure who's going to show up here tonight, but I'd love to hear your comments. Please like and subscribe, and all the best. Have the best days to come. Spring is in the air. Let's start to look forward to that, because I'll tell you, it makes it a lot better, especially when we're coming from those dark months. So again, I'm grateful for YouTube that I could have a channel and just share some thoughts with you. But no blues, guys. Just pray instead, okay? Get into that habit, because I'll tell you, as much as you look forward to speaking to a loved one, it's the same good stuff going on with God, and it's such a beautiful thing. It's assuring, it brings comfort, it brings peace, it brings very much hope into your life, especially when it's getting a little bit dim or dark, too much to your liking, or you can't even bear it. Those feelings do happen. I'm not saying you shouldn't get medical help if you need it. Please do. But remember, you can always pray for the same kind of time you're streaming on some kind of movie platform. You know what I'm saying? It's just about what are you doing with your time. If you need it, pray. Love you guys. Later. Bye.